At just 8 years old, little Mateo stepped onto the stage with trembling legs, a worn-out shirt, and eyes full of dreams bigger than the world he knew. The spotlight hit him, and the murmurs of the audience swelled into silence as he opened his mouth, and a voice more pure and haunting than any the judges had ever heard filled the room. Before the first note even faded, Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, and the entire audience were frozen in awe. Mateo wasn't just singing, he was casting a spell, and no one would ever forget this moment. If you love inspiring stories of talent overcoming all odds, make sure to subscribe now. Mateo grew up in a small fishing village on the island of Cebu. Life was simple but harsh. His family lived in a tiny wooden house near the shore. His father worked long hours on the boats, while his mother cleaned houses in town. Money was scarce, and there was never enough to buy even the most basic things. Yet, amidst the hardships, music filled their home. Mateo's grandmother had a battered old piano, and every evening, Mateo would sit beside it, humming songs he heard on the radio or picked up from visitors. His voice, though small, was extraordinary, warm, and hauntingly pure. Neighbors began noticing him. "That boy has a voice like an angel," they whispered. But Mateo didn't think about fame or talent competitions. Singing was his escape. On some nights, he would climb the hill behind his home and sing to the stars, imagining someone, somewhere, might hear him and feel hope. Music gave him strength to face the hardships that surrounded his young life. One day, Ms. Cruz, a local teacher, heard Mateo singing while passing his house. She was stunned. "Mateo, your voice, it's unlike anything I've ever heard," she said, eyes wide. "You need to do something with it. You belong on a bigger stage." She encouraged him to audition for America's Got Talent. At first, Mateo was hesitant. Traveling to Manila and then to the United States seemed impossible for a poor village boy. But the dream of sharing his voice with the world was stronger than fear. With Ms. Cruz's help and his parents' meager savings, Mateo boarded a plane, leaving behind the only world he had ever known. The journey to the AGT stage was overwhelming. The airports, the crowds, and the endless noise were all foreign and intimidating. Mateo felt small in the enormous cities and even smaller on the massive stage of America's Got Talent. Behind the curtain, he heard the roar of the audience for the previous act. His heart pounded. He closed his eyes, remembering the nights under the stars back home, the sacrifices his family had made, and the promise he made to himself, never let fear stop him. When the curtain rose, Mateo walked forward, clutching the microphone. The lights were blinding, and the audience seemed endless. He took a deep breath and began to sing. From the first note, the theater fell silent. Mateo's voice floated, delicate yet powerful, wrapping around every heart in the room. The judge's eyes widened. Simon leaned forward, hand to his mouth, unable to believe what he was hearing. Sophia's fingers tightened on her desk, tears welling. How could someone so small produce a sound so immense? Halfway through, Mateo hit a high note that seemed impossible for a child his age. The audience gasped. The song told a story of longing and hope, of dreams bigger than life itself, and love that persists despite hardship. Mateo sang with his soul, pouring years of struggle, resilience, and hope into each note. By the final verse, the judges were in tears, some openly sobbing. Then, the unthinkable happened. Simon Cowell pressed the golden buzzer. Sparks showered the stage, the audience erupted in applause, and Mateo's small body shook with disbelief. He had not only won a place in the next round but had touched hearts in ways he could never have imagined. The judges embraced him. Simon whispered, "Mateo, you've changed my life today." Sophia added, "I've seen many amazing singers, but you are something else entirely. Never forget your gift." Mateo, overwhelmed, could only nod, tears streaming down his face. As the excitement settled, a new challenge arose. Mateo's father had fallen ill back home. The news struck him like a storm. Could he continue chasing his dream while his family needed him? The challenge was enormous, yet Mateo realized his voice could now help more than just strangers' hearts, it could help his family survive. Every note he sang carried not just beauty but responsibility. Weeks passed, and Mateo continued to perform in front of judges and live audiences. Each performance was met with more astonishment than the last. He sang songs of hope, courage, and love that resonated with people across the world. Social media exploded with clips of his performances, millions watching and crying along. Headlines called him, "the boy who sings like an angel," and international media clamored to tell his story. Despite fame and attention, Mateo remained humble. He thought of his village, his family, and the nights he sang under the stars, reminding himself why he started. Competition intensified. Contestants tried everything, high-energy acts, stunning performances, but Mateo's voice cut through it all. In one round, a technical mishap occurred mid-song, threatening to ruin the performance. The microphone crackled, and the orchestra faltered. Mateo paused, closed his eyes, and started again a cappella. His voice soared, filling every corner of the theater, and the audience erupted in a standing ovation. Even Simon, who was known for his tough critiques, could only smile in awe. Mateo had not just sung, he had conquered adversity with his voice. The semi-finals were more emotional than anyone anticipated. Mateo sang a song he had composed himself, inspired by the struggles of his family and his village. Every note told a story of love, resilience, and the human spirit. Judges wept openly. Audience members hugged strangers, unable to contain their emotions. Mateo's performance became a symbol. No matter how small or poor someone is, they can touch hearts and change lives. Finally, the night of the finals arrived. Mateo stepped onto the stage once again, his little hands gripping the microphone, eyes shining with determination. He knew this performance could define not just his future but also bring hope and support to his family. The song began, soft and fragile, then building into a crescendo so powerful that even the judges were on their feet. Simon pressed the golden buzzer a second time, unable to contain himself. The audience screamed, and Mateo's family, watching live from Cebu via a screen, cried in disbelief. When the last note faded, silence fell for a heartbeat, then erupted into deafening applause. Mateo had done it. The small boy from a tiny village had sung like an angel and changed the world's perception of what one child could accomplish. He had won not just a competition but hearts worldwide. Mateo returned to Cebu a hero. His family's life was transformed, but more importantly, he reminded the world that dreams are not defined by wealth or circumstance but by courage, determination, and the willingness to sing even when no one is listening. Mateo continued to perform, inspire, and remind everyone that even the smallest voice can echo across the world. Before the next chapter of his journey unfolds, viewers are asked, from which part of the country are you watching Mateo's incredible story? Share in the comments and be part of the magic.